At Thanksgiving dinner, my mom announced she was thankful my dad died. Then she revealed why she had no choice but to stay with him. My aunt's wine glass hit the floor and shattered. "What did you just say?" she said. Mom sat there completely calm with her hands folded on the table. Dad had died 4 months ago in a motorcycle accident, and everyone had been treating Mom like she might collapse any second. But she looked more alive than I'd seen her in years. "I said I'm thankful he died," Mom repeated. She reached under her chair and pulled out an envelope. "I need to show you all something." My aunt was already crying. "How can you say that about your husband? About my brother?" Mom opened the envelope and pulled out a stack of photos. "Because you don't know who he really was." She slid the first photo across the table, and when my aunt picked it up, her hand flew to her mouth. It was a photo of Mom's face with a black eye so swollen she couldn't open it. Mom slid another photo across the table, bruises covering her arms. Another one. Her ribs were purple and yellow. "He did this?" my uncle whispered. Mom nodded and kept pulling out more photos. Hospital paperwork from the time she said she fell down the stairs. Text messages where he called her worthless. A police report from 6 years ago that got dismissed because the responding officer was his drinking buddy. "This is what my marriage looked like for 18 years, Mom said. "But the bruises aren't even the worst part." Mom handed my uncle a stack of documents, and his face was getting redder as he read through them. "He never renewed your green card, and none of these citizenship applications were even turned in." My aunt's voice was shaking. "But you've been here for what, 20 years? Mom nodded. "I came from Mexico when I was 22 to marry him. He filed everything to get me here legally and get my first green card, but after that, he just stopped. He told me for years that the paperwork was processing, but he never actually sent anything in." My uncle was shaking his head. "I always wondered why you never became a citizen. He said you were too nervous about the test." Mom let out a bitter laugh. "That's what he told everyone. The truth is, he wanted me to have no legal status, so I would be too scared to leave him." My aunt was still staring at the photos. "Why didn't you tell anyone? Why didn't you leave?" Mom's voice got quiet. "The first time I threatened to call the police, he grabbed me by the throat and said one sentence I will never forget." She looked right at me. "He said if I ever told anyone or tried to leave, he would call immigration himself and have me deported before I could pack a bag." The room went completely silent except for my little brother crying. "He said I would never see my children again. He said no one would believe some illegal Mexican woman over an American citizen." She pulled out her phone and started reading from screenshots. "These are texts he sent me. You think ICE won't come get you? I'll tell the kids you went back to Mexico because you never really loved them." My uncle slammed his fist on the table. "That son of a—" Mom held up her hand. "He kept my documents locked in a safe I couldn't access. He kept me trapped because as long as I wasn't a citizen, he could threaten me whenever he wanted. I was terrified every single day that immigration would come or that he would report me himself. I stayed because I didn't want to lose my kids." Then Mom stood up and walked to the kitchen. She came back with a certificate in a frame. "I'm a United States citizen now," she said, holding it up. "After he died, I finally had access to all of my documents. I hired a lawyer and rushed the application through. The judge approved it 2 days ago." My aunt started crying harder. "He can't threaten me anymore. He can't call anyone. He can't touch me. I can't be deported, and no one can take me from my children ever again." She looked around at everyone. "So when I say I'm thankful he's dead, I mean I'm thankful I survived long enough to be free." Mom sat back down and looked at me with tears in her eyes. "I'm sorry you had to find out this way, mija." She took a breath. "But I needed you to know the truth."